Alright, I'm back with the Destiny 2 video. Been a little bit since one of those, but we had some fun little drama and then some fun little drama being fixed. So I figured I'd go through this as, yet another sort of obvious mistake that needed to be corrected, and they did correct it pretty fast to their credit. So I am, of course, talking about the dungeon issue where we weren't really clear on this, and I think they said the opposite of this, that what was supposed to happen, what they told us would happen, I think, in the live stream was dungeons would rotate week to week. So Spire, then Ghost of the Deep, then Prophecy, and then Spire again, and it would rotate through that, and, so you'd have a chance at the different loot and stuff. Instead, what happened is they were going to do 3 weeks of Spire, 3 weeks of Ghost, 3 weeks of Prophecy, and then 3 weeks of all of them. So, like, months later, we would have all of them active. The presumed goal of this was to extend player retention. So I guess the idea was that you'd come back in 3 weeks when Ghost showed up, and another 3 weeks. But, like, I don't think that would have even done player retention. I mean, you're probably, unless you're like a diehard player, you're probably not going to farm everything you want in a single week of a dungeon. So the rotation, I think, would have had more people coming back, or just having all the dungeons active would have been a fine farm. I mean, players are going to drop off no matter what before the Edge of Fate. Like, I don't remember what it's called. Like, there's 2 months until Edge of Fate, and players are going to drop off. Like, they just are. I don't know, whatever. This was a mess. This was easy to see coming. Everybody was mad about it and saying it was stupid. When you have, like, Bife saying, like, chiming in to, like, say this is bad, that's significant. So I predicted there would be enough yelling about this to get them to change something. That was correct. The Destiny 2 team account posted a big thing yesterday about all the stuff they're doing to fix it, which is sort of above and beyond, to some extent, what I thought they were going to do. So I'm just going to read that very long tweet. It says, starting today, our planned Rite of the Nine dungeon calendars will be changing. And, like, I think earlier that day, they were like, this is the rotation. And then everyone was like, this sucks. And so I think they had some meetings and came back with this. Okay. Each dungeon featured will be for 2 weeks as opposed to 3. Okay. And we are increasing non-airy manifold currency drop rates, which can be exchanged for additional weapons. With this change, Ghost of the Deep will now launch next Tuesday, May 20th, followed by Prophecy on June 3rd. So, I mean, we're always going to have another week of Spire here, so at least it's changing the following week. So it's sort of just one extra week in the end here to get to Prophecy. So then Prophecy's coming June 3rd. Alongside the above change, the second week of a given dungeon will also feature increased weapon drops, retention, baby, where rewards can drop from any enemy defeated during your dungeon playthrough. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even read that part. Wow, can you kill enemies and get actual loot from an activity you want? Damn, what a concept. God. Sorry, not to toot my own horn. I've been saying this for years. It is so stupid that killing enemies in these games only drops world drops, and you can't just, like, get gear from an activity in the activity randomly. Whatever. Okay, and holofoils are included in this as well. So you could get holofoils farming dungeon stuff. I guess the one catch here is maybe you can just farm one area over and over again until you get holofoils, but there should be some way to prevent that. Yeah. For this week, we are rapidly working on an update that will turn increased weapon drops in Spire until Ghost of the Deep becomes the featured dungeon next week. We'll let you know when that's deployed. So that would be, like, I don't know, tomorrow, maybe today. So that you'll at least have a couple of days of, like, super farming. Okay, and then starting on June 17th, all Rite of the Night dungeons will be available to play at any time on any difficulty, and increased currency drops will be active for all 3 dungeons. Each week, a featured dungeon will have increased weapon drops. This will begin with Spire of the Watcher on June 17th, followed by Ghosts of the Deep on June 24th, and ending with Prophecy on July 1st. A little convoluted, I'd say. Like, I don't know, man. Just have all these loot things on all the time, currency things. Like, who cares? Just do it. On July 8th, a Lootapalooza will begin. All 3 dungeons will have all reward bonuses enabled for the final week of Heresy and a new way to spend your non-area manifold currency. I don't know what that means, but sure. Maybe save it. We hope this gives all Guardians ample time to hunt for holofoils and Adept as they prepare for Edge of Fate's launch on July 15th. So I guess they're sort of de facto increasing holofoil rates if they're increasing weapon drops. Okay, so this is good. I said, grid, good. No notes. Okay, I have some notes. I just think this is a little overly complicated. If they want to do a dungeon rotation, okay, but week 2 has the good drops, and, the final week has all the good drops. I get that the idea is, more retention the second week, except all that really means is you don't play the first week because you're going to get more drops the second week. And then, I don't know, this Lootapalooza thing, that should just sort of be a thing. Who cares, man? They're doing a tier weapon system, immediately after this. And, we don't know how irrelevant these are going to be in the first place. And they're not, amazingly good weapons, first of all. They're not, broken weapons. So it's a little convoluted. It is still way better than what was going to happen before with just these 3-week rotations with apparently no increased bonuses and then all 3 dungeons at the end. That sucked ass. That was such a terrible idea. I can't believe they just did that. They obviously knew what was going to happen there. This is certainly better. This is 5 times better. So I do want to give them credit for that. I do think you can give them credit for trying to quickly fix their mistakes. I don't think people were oh, you shouldn't give them credit for that. Whatever. You can. I mean, they figured it out to some extent eventually. Could this be better? Yeah, sure, probably. But, I mean, take who you can get at this point, and then it's 2 months. You can just not play, too, and go play Doom or Expedition 33. Definitely go play Expedition 33. That is more fun than farming holofoils, I promise you that. But, I just hope that they learn from this. How many years have we been saying that? I think this game is often not generous enough. Dungeon drops have been the worst of any farm in this game. And me, I'm Mr. No Crafting, but fully, I'm going to say that dungeons have been awful. So, that's something I need to work on. Hopefully in the future, they do things a chest at the end you can put currency in or something for extra dungeon drops, things like that. I say they should guarantee a weapon drop per chest, which I think they're doing with this. So these are all things that should stick around. So now there's only 1 dungeon a year, so this is not going to come up that often. But so I just wanted to talk about that for a minute, and then we'll see if this makes it into This Week at Tassie tomorrow. Probably not, but anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.